All right, how's it going, my magnificent sons of bitches? And I haven't been here for a while. Mainly, I've been working, and of course, you have the Astros game going on. We're up 3 games to 2, but it's still a pretty interesting series. You can't sleep on Philadelphia, so I meant, I'm not definitely not counting my eggs before they hatch because they've already taken one from us in Houston. But you have a lot of stuff going on, particularly in the sports world and stuff like that, of stuff that's really not going viral. And in fact, most of these sports broadcasters don't even cover the sports anymore. I mean, it's weird because you have the World Series going on, and all of these sports broadcasters are talking about something that Kyrie Irving said. Guess what? Nobody cares. Ultimately, there's not as much interest in basketball because you've ultimately killed off that sport, just like you've killed off every other kind of media outlet that you've infected with your ridiculous narratives and shit. So, what we have going on all of a sudden is Elon Musk has bought Twitter, and supposedly there's supposed to be some sort of purge. Now, like I said, right now I'm not as optimistic as some people are and thinking, can Twitter be turned around? I kind of hope it does. I hope it turns around for the guy, and I hope he can profit off of it. But ultimately, a lot of these, I guess, they consider themselves centrist. A lot of them consider themselves to be more conservatives. People like Jordan Peterson and various others. This isn't according to me. This is according to the people who watch that, the independent channels that invest in like your Jordan Petersons and various other right wing gatekeepers, I guess you could say. They're kind of on the side now. They're migrating a little bit more to the left. And why do you think that a guy like Jordan Peterson, who has kind of been, I guess to a degree discriminated against, censored against by the left, why would he start to all of a sudden start to join the left in their fight for control and censorship and all the other fucking jargon that they give? I mean, it isn't in anybody's best interest, to censor the internet to the degree that the left has, because the sheer fact is that a number of people don't trust the media. A number of people don't trust the cathartic nature that the left relies on to go ahead and secure any kind of voting base. And a lot of people are more trying to come to a pragmatic conclusion and trying to rationalize everything. Even if even in the worst case scenario, you still don't want people to panic unless you're in the mainstream media, in which it's in your best incentive to have people panicking. And so this is where we're at right now, and then that's all the mainstream media has relied on is panic views and clickbait bullshit. You know what I'm saying? They can't compete with anybody in the independent market. They can't compete with independent personalities here on the internet based on charisma and stuff. All they can do is manufacture bullshit, you know, spray paint that bullshit gold and sell it to the public, basically. And so, what's up, Scott? Elon Musk is making Twitter great again, and we'll still see if that's come. I'm hearing that he may end up moving Twitter to Texas, which means that any of these people that were making, and I hear golden parachutes, golden parachutes, golden parachutes. It's a sad calamity that any of these people are going to make any kind of money, profit off of censoring people. Ultimately, what they need to be doing is, and I don't know how many people have heard about this, but there's actually been reports, there's actually been articles, there's been an investigation that a number of the censorships, a number of the um, what do they call them, fact checkers and stuff like that, are actually run by the narrative of the Department of Homeland Defense. So, our Department of Homeland Security, whatever, it's one of those fucking departments that ultimately I've grown tired of. Absolutely useless. Absolutely, a lot of these federal agencies have probably you know overstayed their welcome. They've probably been stretched out to where they can't contribute any more Um, they can't contribute any more efficiency, and they can't contribute any value really to this country as it pertains to what their job titles initially were. Uh, so I mean, like I said, right now they've become more of a nuisance, and they've become any kind of any kind of well, fuck it. They're not providing any kind of real service anymore. So, like, whenever we look at what's going on here, the left is having a mental breakdown. Why are the Democrats having a mental breakdown? Is because the Democrats can't win on an even platform. The platform has to be slanted in their favor. The moderators have to totally be 110% on the Democrat side for the Democrat side to have any kind of victory. You know what I'm saying? And the moderators can spin it any which way that they want to. And this is ultimately this is what social media has become over the past, I'd say, 5 or 6 years, ever since they passed HR 5181. This is what it's become. It's become, you can't say this. We're going to go ahead and bury that. We're going to go ahead and shadow ban. We're going to go ahead and hold down your views. We're not going to, now everybody has to suffer for this. You know what I'm saying? Now, as independent content creators, whenever I make a video, say on the line, and let's say I'm even the first one, I'll still get buried in the algorithms. Used to back in the days, what we used to do, particularly on my original Prodigal Hill account, what I would do is I would find a story, something that was about to pop off that all the major news media was going to be, doing videos on, that we're going to be talking about this and trying to form their narratives for whatever the story was going to be for that week. YouTubers like myself would go ahead, jump out, do a video. We may not have all the information to the narratives, but we didn't need it. For the most part, most of these narratives we totally understand. They're totally predictable, if anything. And so, you can kind of get a pretty good feeling that, yeah, it's going to be an AR-15, and it's going to be a white male, particularly in his youth. We already know the narratives. It doesn't matter if it's the guy at freaking Sandy Hoax, or the guy at Parkland, or Dylan Roof, or freaking Jared Holmes, or any of the other guys. It's just, generally the plot never changes, for these ridiculous storylines. So, I mean, we've got another storyline coming out, and it falls under the same category as, say, the January 6th shit that nobody believes in. They only got about like 19 million people to watch it, and I guarantee you all 19 million of those people were either A, politicians, B, family members of said politicians, C, family members of the media personalities covering it, are, people that are just watching it to go ahead and debunk and to debase and to sit there. So I mean, most of the fucking audience for the fucking January 6th shit, we already know where, exactly, who is doing what. What's up, Donovan? Elon Musk needs to move YouTube out of California to Texas if he owns it. YouTube. And yeah, that's I know that they're talking about maybe moving Twitter to Texas. I don't know. I was thinking that maybe spread the love a little bit. Not everything has to be moved to Texas. I mean, he's moved a lot of stuff here. We've got SpaceX, we've got Tesla. I was thinking maybe Tennessee. That's a pretty red state. Florida would be another good state to move one of these companies to. But the deal is that these little tech companies certainly doesn't need to be fucking Harvard in a communist state such as California. And so Twitter being the first block to fall, going into private ownership, and potentially moving out of California, California is what we mostly call it, being the first, main, that's allowed, because ultimately you get stuff like Parler that comes up, and you get stuff like Minds and Gab and BitChute, but a large portion of these big tech platforms don't allow the same accessibility for these to go ahead and be broadcasted to a bigger audience. So I meant, these people are trying to sit there and pretend like, oh well, we're no, you're not in a position to go ahead and tell anybody anything. I'd say move Twitter to Tennessee and move YouTube to Florida. Yeah, see, that would be a pretty good idea. Is because like I said, Texas has got a lot of stuff right now. We actually getting but I mean all these states are getting pretty populated right now, and they're going to need jobs too. Like a lot of people are moving to Florida from certain areas. A lot of people are moving from Tennessee to Tennessee from certain areas. So having jobs in the Florida market to go ahead and compensate for all the people that are moving over there, and having jobs in the Tennessee market to compensate from those people that are moving there. It would help out a lot. So, like I said, in Texas, we're doing pretty good right now. Um, and like I said, the talk is that Twitter will be moving to Texas. And I thought, yeah, Twitter, Tennessee, both T kind of sound similar. Maybe move it to like Nashville or Memphis or something, somewhere in that area. And I think that, yeah, it would create a lot of jobs for a lot of people. And we have a lot of stuff going on out here that we have a lot of the, like I said, SpaceX, and we have Tesla. I think moved. I think that they're moving something else here too. Um, is Ted Cruz a rhino now? I don't know. What did Ted Cruz say? I'm probably not going to vote, but what will happen to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris when the Republicans take back the House and the Senate? Uh, is Ted Cruz a rhino now? I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with hardly any of it too much. Ultimately, what I think should happen and what potentially will happen is to stave off any kind of real insurrection, which we're quickly heading to. Not your fake January the 6th shit, but an actual real civil uprising from the masses, particularly whenever you put everybody on edge with the inflation, whenever you put everybody on edge with an energy crisis that the Democrats have built to go ahead and collapse society. Ultimately, what ends up normally happening is you get the shit that happens with, like I said, Mussolini and every other person that has attempted this back in history. They want them to all be dependent on the government, and ultimately, that's not going to go over so well for those that are in power. It's the height of hubris. So, it's what I think. Attention. The best case scenario would be that the Republicans take the House, they take the Senate. This would go ahead and remove the Speaker Nancy Pelosi from being Speaker of the House. Send her back to California for all I care. She needs to lose her seat. She's old and feeble, and none of these people are probably qualified anymore to run their jobs. But ultimately, what I think should end up happening is that the Republicans go ahead and move on impeachment, and now all of that evidence that the left conveniently ignores and that they've ignored in Silicon Valley about quote unquote being the most secure election in history, having the double standards of questioning the 2016 election, while at the same time going ahead and censoring anybody who points out any discrepancies regarding the 2020 election. What's going to end up happening is they're going to sit there and dogpile up that evidence. They're going to lay it down before any kind of committee or whatnot, and then you're going to have fucking sweeps week for the fucking mainstream news. I actually said that a fucking Biden impeachment would probably end up really starting to get people invested in watching the mainstream media. That's going to be the only thing. Nobody cares about a Trump impeachment because we all know you're full of it. They pretty much killed any kind of Trump impeachment that they could even remotely get any interest in from any kind of independence. It's only going to be the radicalized sycophants on the left that will even consider this as anything other than the clownish fucking news that comes out, just another political narrative is all it is. And I meant they're trying to do the whole January 6th thing with Nancy Pelosi and claim that it has to do with the internet. Nobody's buying into the shit anymore. We're just tired of you. We want you to go away. However, that being said, it's going to be overwhelming, I think, in the not too distant future, because I don't think that the left can carry on. I don't think that they're going to be able to hold their position. I think that a lot of people are getting tired of it whenever they see the cost of food going up, when they see the cost of gas going up. We already know who is directly responsible. That would be Nancy Pelosi, for the most part, as Speaker of the House. For all those years, she was going ahead and knocking. I think only 1 year it was the Republicans, and I forget which one it was that was Speaker of the House, but only 1 year did the Republicans ever do any quantitative easing, or 1 year, one session, I should say. But the rest have been Democrat sessions. And, given the political history of the Democrats, it doesn't surprise me that they're trying to push us into World War III, because they're the same people who got us into World War I and World War II after they passed the Federal Reserve Act. When they pass these ridiculous ass policies, ultimately it's always the Democrats' last hope. Their last hope is to get us into a world war, and that seems to be exactly what Slow Joe is doing. The only thing is that you can't go to war without a military, and I don't see anybody too eager to join the military, to be honest with you. And I guarantee the vets just don't care anymore. We're getting shafted. Why would we want to go fight for a country that doesn't respect our personal freedoms? And so that's where we're at right now. We're kind of at a standoff. Anybody who would be on board for saying, "Oh yeah, they just don't care. The fight's been taken out of them as far as like being a soldier, but certainly not the fight for the country." Don't get it twisted. So I mean, it is what it is. It's going to be very, very interesting this next year. It teeters on a lot. It really does. And so we're going to see exactly what happens. But I think that the best things that the Republicans do would be to impeach Kamala and Joe Biden. And ultimately, more people, you would get more of an audience interested in a Joe Biden and Kamala Harris impeachment than you would on a January 6th committee or a Donald Trump impeachment 2.0, because nobody cares. Everybody understands that right now you people are not qualified to be in the position that you're in. Much like the fucking people who run these websites, not just fucking Twitter right now, but Facebook and even YouTube. I mean, like I said, whenever I go back and I look at the algorithms, I think Shannon Sharp and fucking what is it? Skip Bayless just put up a video. It had like 431,000 views, which, as far as sports is concerned, that's not a lot. 431,000 views is probably like, you know, maybe 1% of the sports fans of this, maybe 1% of the sports fans in this country. You know what I'm saying? And it's probably even less than that. It's probably like only 0.5%, if that. But whenever you take in consideration, they were talking about Kyrie Irving. Like I said, shows you how much that nobody cares about their shit anymore. Nobody cares about the Undisputed. Nobody cares about Shannon Sharp or Skip Bayless or ESPN or any of the commentaries. They don't care, because you look on Twitter and Kyrie Irving is trending on Twitter, yeah, but at what, a whopping 271,000, and it's only getting like 2 or 3,000 reactions on Facebook. So nobody cares. Your networks are dying. They're garbage. They're trash. You've run everybody else off the platform. Why? So you could sit there and post all of your shit that nobody wants to see. If anybody wants to go see ESPN articles and sit there and watch them cry about Kyrie Irving, they would subscribe to ESPN. And there's no interest in it. There is none whatsoever. And you look at the traffic on Twitter, there is almost like, it's anemic. It's anemic, the traffic on Twitter. So Elon Musk is going to have to, and the lefts here that are fucking on the internet right now, your Young Turks and your MSNBCs and your CNNs, they get no view. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching them. So to sit there and listen to people who can't accumulate any kind of traffic on their own site, and you're listening to them to going ahead and talking about how Elon needs to go ahead and implement some sort of standards and policies and whatnot. You can't even generate traffic to your own websites. So why are you trying to tell Elon Musk on how he should operate Twitter? Absolutely fucking not. Definitely, we don't need any of these moderators in any of those positions on any of these sites. That's it. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing else to say because there's no fucking traffic on there. You've pretty much shadow banned, you've pretty much eliminated you've pretty much killed a lot of the internet. You've killed it. You haven't killed people's animosity towards you. You've only killed their ability to go ahead. But people are still going to communicate with each other. But you've killed anybody's ability to use these platforms in any kind of real efficient manner. So I meant, what good is it to go ahead and fucking what good is it to? Because I guarantee you that unless it's a movie or something, whenever I see a commercial on a YouTube video, I'm clicking off of it. I'm clicking off of it. I'm not gonna watch your fucking thoughts on whatever the hell whenever I see a commercial on it. Because 9 times out of 10, I'm watching cringe content. There was a guy over here, and Microphone is still out there on his YouTube channel covering sports. But there's a guy that is a legitimate ripoff of Microphone on here, and he's not really that good. I mean, Microphone isn't great by any means, but he's definitely better than this guy, and this guy's even worse than Microphone, and he's putting advertisements on his videos. I mean, his videos are substandard to the most part. He's just reading Wikipedia articles and putting it on YouTube, basically. So that's how cheap, and that's just kind of like how cheap. That's how cheap the YouTubers have gotten on this site. You've gotten people that are blatant ripoff of Charlie Wolfkale. I forget the guy's name. Dark Horse sent me a video of him. He was talking about Kevin Nash's son. And I'm like, this guy is a blatant fucking ripoff of Charlie Wolfkale. And, he's sitting there trying to put advertisements on his videos. Like you're something. Man, we did the shit first. Stop ripping us off. So you have the new people coming in on YouTube, stealing other people's concepts, stealing other people's ideas, and trying to become the next new YouTubers. Then they're just basically mimicking us. It's kind of like a slap in the face to me, whenever you see somebody who is blatantly a ripoff of somebody that that you've worked with, that you've invested some sort of rapport in, and they're ripping them off. To me, that's kind of like a slap in the face. And then you're going to put an advertisement on top of that because you think you deserve some sort of revenue from that. Absolutely fucking not. Now, there are those guys out there, say like an actual justice warrior, who puts commercials on his stuff. He does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of investigation. He spends a lot of time. He deserves to, I'll watch his videos because he deserves that revenue. But for a lot of these other motherfuckers that put little effort into any of the shit that they do, absolutely not. You don't see any fucking commercials on my stuff, but guess what? I already understand I'm not putting any kind of real effort into these videos. I'm just giving my thoughts on this channel. You know what I'm saying? But you're never going to fucking see a commercial on a video like this. If I start putting advertisements in my videos, I genuinely need them for some sort of revenue to go ahead and put in like some quality, like doing video editing, getting some video editing equipment for it, getting some green screen shit. And I promise you, if I put if I put any fucking commercials into, because the commercials are horrible anyways, kind of takes you out of the videos. But I guarantee you, those videos are going to be of a higher quality. There's going to be video editing in it. There's going to be, I'm going to put a lot more effort into it than, half-assing it, just doing fucking random fucking thoughts here on the internet, like I am right now. This is, like I said, low effort. I'm not putting in any kind of real research or anything like that. I'll do that for my VidShoot. If I put up a VidShoot video, I'll put in a little bit more evidence into it. I'll show more stuff onto it. You know, every once in a while I may bring Dark Horse on here and talk about Chris Benoit. You know, but that's because Dark Horse is doing a document. Now, if Dark Horse wanted to put some commercials on his videos, I'd say, okay, that's fine. What's the difference between Dark Horse and, some random ripoff of Charlie Wolfkill and some random ripoff of Microphone is that Dark Horse actually put the he put in work for his fucking Chris Benoit videos. And I understand that, oh, okay, he's going to put advertisements in his video because he wants to get more money, maybe to edit sound equipment, maybe to edit photos a little bit better. Maybe he wants to go ahead and buy some sort of hardware to go ahead and break down some of the key information that he has, which would most certainly be necessary in a large shit that fucking Dark Horse is trying to do. But some fucking random person over here that's just stealing somebody else's gimmick or stealing somebody else's I just no interest into me. Oh yeah, they're just like the smart busters. No, they're nothing like the smart busters. This is like the geek room. They're trying to be like the drunken peasants, but you're a blatant fucking ripoff. You don't have the charisma. It's just these YouTubers. It's just and this is ultimately what the internet is. And this is, whenever you can start to tell, this is whenever shit declines. So it's going to be the next thing. What's going to be the next thing? That's the interesting. Is somebody else going to open up a new innovative website, to get more traffic into it? Or we're going to sit there and push this site as a community to go ahead and be taken? And are we going to come back to the internet? Is the internet going to make a comeback with, I guess, more efficient YouTubers that are going to put in more effort? Like I said, it's just this whole thing and the TikTokers and this whole new internet is, at the end of the day, they're really kind of lazy to a degree. So it's just like, it is what it is. I just, go back to the old days where we could go back and forth with each other and have little feuds and work little interesting angles and have concepts, do some video editing, make quality rants and do quality videos. And then, like I said, just most of this platform, most of the internet is becoming nothing but catfish like it was at first. So it's, we're kind of looking for the new frontier. So, anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. Elon has bought Twitter, and I think that you're going to see a lot of people try to do a lot of shit. Just like whenever it was confirmed that he bought Twitter, everybody was posting the N word. Well, we already know who's posting the N word. It's not right wing people that are on Twitter because they're all fucking banned from Twitter for the most part. None of them get on Twitter. So we know it's basically internet shills. It's fucking media shills. That's who's doing this shit. And then they cover the shit that they do, and then they try to pretend like it's everybody else. Nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. Go back to your fucking baristas. Go back to stuffing tacos. Go back to flipping burgers. Go back to cleaning urinals. Your original jobs, and let more qualified people have those positions. Because certainly they're not positions that you've earned. You've only gotten into those positions by being a diversity hire or whatever the fuck you are, and you have no business doing those jobs. I hope Elon Musk owns all platforms. It would be funny, but yeah, I think that right now he needs to work on Twitter, and then once he starts, Twitter's going to be the metric. It's going to be the metric to see exactly what Elon can do as an owner, how this can potentially thrive, because nobody complains whenever fucking Jeff Bezos buys Twitch. But all of a sudden, everybody has a mental breakdown when Elon buys Twitter. It's, the double standards of the mainstream media. It's predictable. Nobody respects them. So at the end of the day, who knows? I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see if Elon does anything with Twitter, because my account's still technically up. It's just suspended. So I'll see if he unsuspends my account. If my account becomes unsuspended, well, then we know that Elon is doing something with Twitter. If it stays suspended and nothing changes, and so much time goes by, then we can pretty much, and it still stays in California, then we understand that it's, you know, just another parlor trick by the left to go ahead and give the right the illusion that they're having these battles and whatnot. But ultimately, it's certainly not going to be enough to go ahead and deter, because you're not looking at the right at this point. You're looking at the anarchists, you're looking at the anti-federalists, you're looking at the libertarians, you're looking at a large percentage of the United States American citizen base that's getting fed up with this bullshit, and they just basically are all thrown into the same column of being right-wing extremist and shit. Well, if you're going to call us right-wing extremists, well, we'll definitely go ahead and, uh, you know, we'll go ahead and become that then. Because what's the point of, trying to sit here on the internet and have some sort of decor of, trying to communicate and trying to express ourselves and trying to start a platform and have open dialogue? What's the point if we're just going to be called right-wing extremist terrorist anyways? At the end of the day, we just might as well as go ahead, form up, and form our own little lynch mobs and take justice into our own hands. If we're not going to get any resolve, you know what I'm saying? We just might as well. So, anyways, yeah, I figured I'd go ahead and do a video. Seems to be a hot topic. I think that the layoffs for Twitter is starting already. I think that ultimately what the deal is that they're first off going to ask people who said that they want to quit whenever Elon took over. They're going to ask those people if they want to quit, and then they'll go ahead and they'll let them people go. And then you have the people that are probably just going to get laid off, a bunch of the middle management that's probably utterly useless to Twitter. And then you're going to start to see more of the tech side being laid off. But like I said, ultimately, if they move to Texas, that could ultimately end up. They could ultimately end up laying off like 99%. Maybe just a very few key people would be brought on board to go ahead and help facilitate and set up Twitter in Texas. They would probably relocate. And they'd be the ones that probably would want to relocate to Texas and probably. But for the most part, a lot of the, and like I said, whenever this domino falls, what's going to be the next domino? Is it going to be YouTube? Is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be Google? Because they're all situated in California. And once Silicon Valley starts to collapse, Hollywood's already collapsing. And we see what the California, that's one of the few things that's keeping California held up, is one is Hollywood and the other is Twitter. Hollywood is struggling to get any kind of interest into their products and stuff. You have stuff that's coming out, but ultimately people are having less and less, they're just interested in Hollywood culture less and less. And then the other one is Silicon Valley, and if Silicon Valley falls, I guarantee you, California is going to be in really, really bad trouble. They're going to be, Southern California, at least anyways, is going to be comparable to Detroit. It's going to be comparable to Detroit. It's going to be like Escape from LA. It's going to be Escape from New York and shit like that. That's how bad it's going to be, like a post-apocalyptic shithole, basically, if Silicon Valley falls. If Elon Musk unsuspended your Twitter account, are you to post theirs again? I might post. Of course, whenever I do these StreamYards, I do these StreamYards on across multiple platforms anyways. So ultimately, whenever I would do these StreamYards, I would probably post them on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. However, my Twitter's suspended, so I can't post it on Twitter. But which really doesn't matter because there's no real potential audience on Twitter right now, anyways. But ultimately, probably within the next month or so, I'll probably try and go ahead and see what Rumble is about. And if I can get something set up on Rumble, which I know I've been saying this for about like 2 or 3 months now, but in about the next couple of weeks, I'm going to actually be able to have the time to go ahead and make that potentially a reality. I'm going to go ahead and try out Rumble for like a little while, and then I'll probably get back into doing my video editing, doing more parody videos, doing more entertainment videos, and potentially putting that up on Rumble. While any kind of news sourced videos and whatnot, any kind of political stuff, I'll do for BitChute. And that seems to be what I'm thinking about doing. But it'll be in the next month or so, I think. Like I said, I kind of want to work on Rumble and see exactly what you can do and can't do with Rumble. So more of my entertaining videos will be. And if I do any of these, these are just going to be vlogs. And if I may go ahead and post the links, but ultimately the goal is to go ahead and move a lot of my content to other platforms other than here, especially if I do any kind of real video creating. If I have to put in any real fucking effort into a video, I'm certainly not going to put it on YouTube anymore, because why would I? You've taken down how many channels now from me? Deleted, you've terminated how many channels so far? I mean, you've deleted 3 accounts on Twitter. This is my, you know, I've had 2 accounts on YouTube that were terminated, 3 accounts on Twitter, 1 account on Facebook. I mean, at the end of the day, what would be the point in putting in any real effort into any of these platforms? So yeah, I'll be looking at looking at more at Rumble, and then hopefully maybe some people move from Twitter to Gab, or they move to Twitter from Twitter to True Social, and then maybe we could have a little bit more of an interaction. I'm just waiting for other people to get on these platforms and start using these platforms like they use Facebook, like they use Twitter, like they use YouTube. And once that starts to happen, then ultimately that's whenever you're going to see more changes in YouTube policies, more changes. It may be too late. It's already probably too late for Twitter. Elon just bought Twitter, and I don't know if he's going to be able to save it or not, because it's got such a shitty reputation. But ultimately, if people start using these platforms like Gab, True Social, Rumble, Minds as alternatives to like your Facebook, Twitters, and YouTubes, then ultimately this would put a lot of pressure on these platforms to go ahead and do what's right, and to start pushing out the DHS bullshit, you know, because it's not necessary. You're not doing anything. And in fact, you're pissing everybody off. And ultimately, all that's going to lead to is an actual insurrection. There's not going to be a civil war. It's not going to happen. You may think it's going to happen, but no, it's not a reality. It really isn't. And all you're going to do is end up pissing everybody off. That's all you're going to end up doing. We see what's happening in Sri Lanka. We see what's happening in India. We've seen what was happening in Japan, and it's going to be the same fucking thing. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it. Everybody's having a mental breakdown. Elon took over Twitter. The Democrats are screwed right now. I think that realistically, whenever I look at the algorithms on the internet, the Democrats don't have a snowball's chance in hell. Even their fucking most horrible candidates. I wouldn't consider fucking Herschel Walker a great candidate. You know what I'm saying? But he's got a pretty good chance of beating Warnock in fucking Georgia. Fucking Dr. Oz is a pretty shit candidate, but he's going to end up beating Fetterman from what I hear in Pennsylvania. He's more likely to beat Fetterman in Pennsylvania than fucking Herschel Walker is to beat Warnock in Georgia. And then, like, you look at the Texas governor, it's already over. It's already over. There's no way Beto is beating Abbott. And that's, the Democrats should have been able to take that seat. They should have been able to take the governor's seat in Texas against Abbott, who's on his 3rd term, and due to his reputation regarding the VAXX and regarding the power outages, that should have been an easy target for the Democrats. And then, you go ahead and throw out the fucking wedge issue of abortion. Will Ron DeSantis win? He's already pretty much won too. Carrie Lake has pretty much won. She's pretty much destroyed Katie Hobbs. I mean, it's just so ridiculous that whenever you look at early voting and mail-in ballots, they didn't get the percentages that were even close to being needed for them to win. So ultimately, they're trying to figure out ways that they can go ahead and rig this election. You're already hearing them sit there and talk about how Trump supporters are saying that they're going to be at the polls, and half of you stupid motherfuckers vote by mail, supposedly, according to y'all, anyways. So what the fuck does it matter? Then you have Joe Biden out there saying, well, we may not find out the results to the election because, the polls, we may not be able to count all the votes, and they're bullshit. That's absolutely fucking horseshit. But they're trying to make excuses, but they know they're getting their ass kicked. And it's an act of desperation. The Nancy Pelosi, fucking Paul Pelosi bullshit. It's an act of desperation. These people, nobody likes them. Nobody likes you. You've had control of these platforms. You've had your platform. You've neglected everybody else to have the fucking same platforms that you have. So, people are tired. People are tired of the shit. And, you wanted a reset anyways. Well, guess what? You're going to get one. Tesla headquarters is in Austin. Yeah, that's why I said Tesla and SpaceX are already here. I don't know if SpaceX's headquarters may be here now. I think that their headquarters is in, but they have stuff that they do here. You know what I'm saying? And I heard that they were talking about moving their headquarters here too. But yeah, a lot of it's in Texas right now. Elon has been here in this area for, I don't know, hell, since 2012 or 2010, 2000. No, it might have been 2005 they moved here. I forget. But yeah, it's interesting. But anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up. You people tell me what you think. You like, sub, do the shit YouTube and Facebook tell me to do to get over. And for now, I'm out.